My name is Laurent Ferry, and today's book is a gradual made in northern Italy in the 15th century, a time of economic growth, high cultural achievements, and fierce competition between the city-states and also among the dignitaries of the Catholic Church. What is a gradual? A gradual is a choir book which had to be legible by all members of the Schola Cantorum, a group of 10 or 20 selected monks or nuns, banded together for the purpose of rendering sacred music. This is why it had to be so large in size, with a big text area, as opposed to books of private devotion, such as this tiny book of ours, also made in the 15th century, but for one reader only. We've known since 1912 that the anonymous artist who did the illuminations, the miniature paintings in the book, was active from the 1440s to the 1460s, so we can estimate that our book here was made around 1450. Its most striking feature is probably the monumental binding, with thick wooden boards covered with stamped leather, probably deerskin, and decorated with bronze elements, brass spikes and bosses. The boards were squared up to the shape of the book, but projected beyond the edges of the pages so as to protect the text block. The heavy boards and the leather straps were partly meant to keep the book flat, because parchment has a tendency to swell and cockle with significant variations of temperature and humidity. So let us see what is inside. Opening a book like this is akin to pushing the massive doors of a medieval church. For instance, Santa Maria del Carmine in Brescia, built approximately at the same time in the same region. Indeed, if you knock on the board, you can hear the sound of the wood. So what do we find inside? Well, first of all, we can see why this book is kept at Cornell today. It was acquired for Eddie White from an Italian bookseller in Firenze and delivered to the Cornell Library in 1891. Then we have a series of chants with a musical notation on a 4-line staff, which were part of the Catholic liturgy. The temporale, a series of chants for special events celebrating the mystery of Jesus Christ. The sanctorale, chants for the feast days of special saints occurring on set dates. The common of the saints, chants for saints for whom there are no special fixed days. It is possible, therefore, that this book was part of a multi-volume set, which would also include the Ordinary of the Mass and parts of the Mass common to entire categories of saints and martyrs. What is the meaning of these illuminations? For most of us, they're beautiful, yet not really meaningful. Let us take, for example, the image showing the martyrdom of Saint Lawrence, who was grilled alive in 258. Symbolic details matter a great deal here. In addition to the gridiron, we see a baptismal well. It is a reminder of the fact that Lawrence baptized several Romans who were beaten up and tortured because of their Christian faith. His martyr inspired medieval viewers to embrace their baptismal commitment. The two vases refer to a famous statement made by the saint, forced by the Roman authorities to sell the treasures of the church to feed the poor, that the poor are actually the real treasures of the church. Finally, and rather unexpectedly, we have a peacock. And it is not a symbol of vanity here. Based on the ancient belief that the flesh of this particular bird does not decay, and that the peacock loses its feathers in autumn but regrows them in the following spring, the peacock became a symbol of resurrection. The artist chose to represent the moment when Lawrence is greeting his painful death rather cheerfully, quipping something along the lines of, "Turn me over now, this side is done." It is of course to be understood as a symbol of resilience, courage, and hope in the face of death. In conclusion, this superb artifact helps us to achieve a better understanding of religious life in the Middle Ages.